As I sit here on Memorial Day weekend 2022 at a campground in Nebraska, waiting for the tourists to kind of like go back to work and go back to school, I decided to make a little interim video that's kind of in between the trip, and I'll post it right away. Over the last year, since I installed my big battery, lithium battery system, I've had a lot of people off and on, both in YouTube and Facebook, comments ask me to have a little more detail about it. Now, I did a couple of videos on this, one showing the system as I was setting up in the shop and then describing it, and the second video was the installation in my camper. But I'll try to go into maybe a little more detail here and try to answer some questions. Now, this system is for the small camper. You're not going to run refrigerators and air conditioners off from it. We have a couple of fans, we've got a lot of charging ports, we've got a TV, things like that. But being minimalist, we don't have that much. When we're plugged in to shore power, we do have the microwave and some 110 volt plugs. And I do have a very small inverter so that on the battery I can still plug some small things in, like my laptop that requires 110 volts. So this system is for the minimalist, but we found that with the minimal amount of electricity we need, this system will run us 5 to 7 days at least, longer depending on how judiciously you use it. So here it is. We originally went with a 100 amp wet cell battery. It was sealed so we could have it inside the camper. There was no gas that would come out of it. We eventually added another one, so we had 200 amps, and they worked pretty good. But with wet cell batteries, you effectively get half the current out of them before you got to put them on a charger. So, 200 amps, you effectively end up with about 100 amps that you can use. Boy, someone's yelling over there. And after about 3 years, I began to notice that they started dropping off in the amount of current I could get out of them. So what started out being a pretty good amount of use for our limited needs started to decrease, and it started to decrease notably. Now, these batteries cost about $170 a piece, so I had, $340 worth of batteries that after 3 years I kind of felt as though I needed to replace them, or at least add another one to them to try to bring it back up to snuff. So I wasn't looking forward to having to do that that often. Enter Big Battery at bigbattery.com. Now, I want to start off right from the beginning to say that I have no affiliation with them other than that I bought one of their units. I didn't get a free one. This is going to sound like an advertisement, but it's not. I don't have any monetary things having to do with Amazon stores or different companies at all. I understand it can be pretty lucrative if you do, but I don't have anything like that for this site. It's just for the fun of it. Big Battery makes these pre-made lithium battery units, and they are extremely well made. I haven't taken mine apart because there's a sticker on the side that says void warranty if removed, and the unit has a 10-year warranty on it. But some people online have taken them apart, and they have been astounded at the quality of the build, the size of the wires, the fact that they use hydraulic crimpers. Mine has a fire suppression system in it. It's CO2. It's the only one they make like that because I don't really think it's necessary. But it has a 300 amp fuse in it. It's appropriate for the size of my battery. It's replaceable. You can buy it at any automotive store. It's kind of a big unit. It's an access panel. It has a small digital readout for voltage and a power switch. And things are good quality. The switch has a high current rating, so it's bound to last. On the side, it has a large Anderson connector, and they sell the Anderson connectors too, which is a good way to attach the battery. And number of standalone units. The one I have is a 12 volt, 202 amp unit. It's got 4 lithium batteries in it. They make a lot of 24 volt and 48 volt systems. The 12 volt is really, what I need and what you may need for your camper too. They have one now that is not 202 amps, but is 170, which is quite a bit less expensive. Basically the same unit, it looks the same. And then the other ones are higher current than mine, 238 amps and higher. So they kind of, over the years, they kind of varied the current carrying capacity of some of these units, but any of them would be comparable. Like a 170 compared to a 202, for me it wouldn't make that much difference with the amount of use I'd be able to get out of it. Maybe for someone else they might want to go with a 238 or higher. They're not inexpensive. The 170 unit is something like $800 or $900. But it is all self-contained. It comes in a stainless steel case. It has handles that you can move it around. Mine weighs 68 pounds. And it's just a really nicely made unit, and I've had very good luck with it. Another reason for lithium is their longevity. If you look at a lead acid battery at a graph, you'll see that over time, over the years, it will drop off at a pretty steady rate. And I found that after 3 years, I probably had just half the usability out of the battery. With lithium, they age much more slowly or hardly at all through most of their life, and then towards the end of their life, they drop off suddenly. And you get more than 3 years out of them. This one is rated at 1,000 charge cycles or 10 years. So I don't know if this will last 10 years, but if whatever time it does last, you get the full current use out of it for almost all that time, and then it'll drop off. You may have noticed this if you have battery operated power tools that are lithium. Now I have a leaf blower, I have drills, and they tend to work and be just as powerful, and then when they hit that point where they've used up their current, they just stop. A wet cell battery will get weak over time. Here's a picture of their 170 amp battery. As you can see, if you can see the dimensions, it's really quite small, smaller than you might think. And it doesn't show the handles on here, but there are 2 bolted on white nylon rope handles on this unit that make it portable. The one I have fits under the front counter in the galley with still, about 10 inches to spare over the top of it. Installation is very simple. It's just connected to the positive and negative sides of the power that you need for the camper. I do have a Victron 15 amp charger in line with it. And the charger is also nice because if you're plugged into shore power and you don't want to run the battery, you can get 15 amps of current out of the charger. And like right now, we're parked at a campsite that has electricity. My battery's been off for a few days, and we're just running everything off the charger. But at the same time, The charger is at float stage, which means it's charged the battery and is just maintaining it. So when we leave the campground, the battery will be fully charged. If you want to use your vehicle to charge the battery, you can, but it's not like a wet cell. Lithium batteries tend to draw all the current that an alternator can produce. And if the alternator is idling, the built-in fins or fan on the side of the alternator, which cool it down, aren't cooling it down much, but the battery is still sucking up the juice as fast as it can. So it can burn out an alternator. Now, a few choices for this to fix this are to get an extra alternator put in or a beefy one that's made for this. A couple of easier choices. One is to get a DC to DC charger, which you see in this picture. And basically what it does, it gets DC from the alternator and converts it to DC for the battery. So there's no really direct connection. There are regulators that they have for these too that will also just regulate it so that it won't let it suck more electricity than it can handle. I did not put this in for a couple of reasons. One, it's pretty expensive. And two, I didn't really need it. We can go 5 to 7 days on a charge, and I rarely go that long before I get to plug in and charge the battery again. So this would have been an expense that would have been for very little gain for me. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you're boondocking a lot, and you'd like to have the battery charged between campsites. Then something like this would be good too. The charger I have, it's made by Victron. They make various size ones. If you have a lot of battery, you can get like a 30, 35 amp one. 15 is fine for what I need here and for charging the battery. It'll charge any kind of battery, but it has a special setting for lithium, and it will charge it properly. Bringing it up to speed, dropping it down a little, and then putting it into float stage, which means it just maintains it. So it won't damage the battery. It comes with a couple of cables. One allows you to connect it directly to a battery with clips. And another one is a small connector that has small eye-rings on it, so you can connect it to your battery for charging that way. There's a small male and female connector, so you can easily plug and unplug the battery from it. And I do that in the camper. It's convenient because I can remove the battery without having to remove the charger. It's not hardwired to the charger. That breakaway allows me. This is a Victron Smart Shunt. They come in various sizes, not physically, they're only about that big, but they come in various currents. This one is 500 amps. It's the smallest they make, and they make up to 1,500, 3,000 amps. And what a shunt does, it allows you to have a device that can show the status of the battery, how much current you're using, how much you have left, how much is charged, all of that. They have hardwired ones, and Victron actually makes a really nice one. There's a small gauge that you can mount someplace in your camper. It's wired to the shunt, and the shunt is wired to the battery, and you'll always have that gauge of how your battery is doing. This one is a wireless Bluetooth shunt. So I take my phone and connect to it, and it gives me the information that I need on the status of the battery. It really works quite well. You'll see online a lot of people will say, well, you got to have it like a foot away for it to work. Mine works outside of the camper. Mine works 10 feet away. So I don't know what those people are talking about, but I can tell you it works at least 10 feet away from the camper and outside of it going through aluminum. Now the connection of it, it's connected along the negative wire. It sounds strange, but that's the way it's done. So black goes into one side from the camper black goes out to the other side to the battery. And then there's a small wire that connects to the side of it with a positive that just powers the shunt. So you tap the battery and put that small wire on it. There's also a couple of auxiliary cables on it that allow you to connect other things to it. Oh, my wind's coming up. I need to put the canopy down, I think. But the shunt is tucked up, underneath the cabinet. It just stays there. And when I go to turn my phone on, it connects with Bluetooth. There's a special app that they have that you download, and the shunt will give you all the information you want, and it'll also allow you to upgrade the software that's in the shunt. Well, I hope this was of use to those people, particularly who asked about this. I'm putting in the description below, I'll put links to all the parts that I talked about, including big battery, the one that I have. Yeah, this stuff is expensive, and the shunt and the charger are expensive also. But when you're done, you get a really good system that you don't have to build yourself, which can be formidable. And it's kind of ready to go out of the box, and it really works good. I can vouch for it.